Today we're going to do a redraft of the 2024 draft. Obviously, just finished that whole season out. 2024 is over. Kind of sad in a way. It was a great season, and we finally got to see the Chiefs not win. So, great win overall. And today we're going to look at this draft class and say, hey, let's do this differently. That's what we're going to do here. And you know what? Let's just dive right into this. Starting off, Chicago. Obviously, they took Caleb Williams. And, I want to go back and, what we know now, right? So, what we know now, what would we have done? And in my opinion, I think there is still a lot of reason to take Caleb Williams here. Yes, Jaden Daniels was incredible, but so often the situation makes the player. Situations make the quarterback. Situations make all the other things make sense. So when you're thinking about that, is it really worth it taking Jaden Daniels with the idea that maybe Washington just does just as good or even better with Caleb Williams? Caleb Williams showed a lot of flashes. Looks like he could be the guy we all expect him to be. There's a definite high possibility of that. It's just, can he get around the jump that is the Bears? Okay, that's the big issue here. So I say all that to say we are going to take Jaden Daniels out of respect for the fact of his season was incredible, but I do think Caleb Williams, there's a lot of reason to still put him at number one. The upside is still there. He's younger. And now that I'm thinking about even the age aspect, maybe I should have gone Caleb. But it's okay. Caleb will go at 2. We switch up number 1, number 2. And you know what? So much so, number 3 is still Drake May. You can argue here, and I know somebody is. What's up, dog? I know somebody is going to argue the fact that, Bo Nix was so good and Drake May only played for half the season. Bo Nix doesn't have the upside Drake May does. End of story. End of conversation. It's not a debate here. This dude is obviously going to just destroy this right now. But, hey, Hero. This is my German Shepherd, Hero. He's here now. Cool. Anyways, so, yeah, people are going to talk about Bo Nix. No. The Broncos, if you gave them the option halfway through the season, they would trade for Bo Nix, or trade Drake May for Bo Nix 100% of the time. You should. He's just a better quality prospect, and that makes all the sense in the world. We're not changing anything here. Moving on now to Arizona. This one's tough because, honestly, they really could just go the same route Marvin Harrison Jr. They could go Malik Neighbors. Honestly, I think it is a one-for-one swap at this point in their careers. Yes, Malik Neighbors had a better season, but, I just don't see that big of a difference. Looking at the rest of the guys on the board, Alt would be a good pick, but not necessarily required. Bowers, he'd be great if the name Trey McBride wasn't relevant, but it is relevant, so we're not doing that. Quinion Mitchell would be super fun. They do need a corner. But honestly, it really just makes too much sense to stick with receiver. Whether that's Neighbors, whether that's Harrison. For the sake of the switch up, we'll go with Neighbors here. But either way, not a bad pick. The Chargers. In my opinion, Marvin Harrison could have been a big option here, but we do got to think of the fact that they got Ladd McConkey later. And we're just doing the first round today, so we'll assume that everything else stays generally the same in this second round. Obviously some guys who got drafted in the first round won't get drafted today, but we'll look at that when we get there, okay? But the Chargers, Joe Alt, the identity they wanted to put on the field, that makes way too much sense to not do it again. It really just does. The Giants, once again, we're facing the same situation, the one-for-one swap, Marvin Harrison. So far, going through this, the only way to swipe through this is this right here. It's really weird. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams swap spaces. We have the same guy going to New England, the same guy going to the Chargers, and a swap from Neighbors and Harrison. So, overall, what does that tell you? That tells you this is a pretty dang good draft at the top, and those teams did a good job. So, that's pretty good. Tennessee here, they took J.C. Latham, a pick that I thought they were so stupid for, and they honestly were. Dallas Turner is interesting because the edge rusher position could be used, but he didn't really do anything this year, so we don't know much about him at this point. Leatu Latu was a really good year. Where is he? Jared Verse? There he is. He's all the way down here. Jared Verse makes a ton of sense here. In my opinion, that really is important. However, the problem is that they really do need that O-line fixed because it was still terrible with Latham. Now, is one guy going to fix that? No. But I think you can find a guy here who probably will be a better option. And I think you go with, where is he? Olu Fashanu. He played good in spurts. We didn't get to see a lot of him because the Jets didn't play a ton of him, but when he did play, he played well. So I think right now, versus what we saw from Latham, which wasn't all that great, Fashanu, with the draft expectation he had, plus that, makes tons of sense. Atlanta, they took Michael Penix. And in my opinion, I'm still of the opinion, I don't care at all, one bit, what you think of Kirk Cousins. I don't care if you think he sucks. You just, prior to this draft, paid him $40 million a year for 4 more years. You don't draft a quarterback here. That's stupid. I don't care what you think, especially not one who's a 25-year-old. I just don't understand that whatsoever. So what does Atlanta need? Well, they need an edge rusher very, 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 very badly. That's why I think Jared Verse comes off the board here. I think he'd be a super fun player for Atlanta. You know, getting a dominant edge rusher with the D-line they already kind of have put together. I think that's a sick pick. So this pick was Rome Odunze. They already have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Odunze was less than productive, I guess you could call it. I don't really think it was that great. I think Brock Bowers here would be super fun. Cole Kmet is here, but, you know, not the biggest concern with him. You could go O-line. Fuaga, Latham, maybe. It's still a little early from what we did see. I'm trying to think who else we could go here. Somebody maybe. Graham Barton could really go here. I mean, doing anything on their line would be better than nothing. Nate Wiggins was really good this year. I think, so obviously we have Jaden Daniels. Dallas Turner honestly makes a lot of sense too. I think, though, the biggest problem they had was they lacked the ability to get to the quarterback a lot. So we're going to take Laiatu Latu, probably the second best edge from this class so far. Dallas Turner, like I said, he just didn't get the chance to play very much. So we'll kind of see how that pans out later on. But the Jets, obviously a terrible year for them. You know, here, a receiver's left on the board, and that's Rome Odunze. That makes a lot of sense. Brock Bowers is on the board, and with what he did, that makes way too much sense. They need a tight end. They obviously get Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson this season. You get Brock Bowers in there, holy moly. Aaron Rodgers has a whole nother outlook in life probably after that happening. That team might be a whole lot different just with Brock Bowers' addition, bringing just, you know, more of a dynamic offense to your team. Minnesota, this pick was Dallas Turner. We're not doing that today. This one was Dallas Turner. 23 was, no, this was J.J. McCarthy. 23 was Dallas Turner. Excuse me, I am tripping right now. You know, J.J. McCarthy, you could argue what you want about the whole Penix situation. I think this one still makes sense because they only have Sam Darnold for this year. They're not on this guy for the next 4 years paying him a ton of money each year. That makes a lot of sense to me still. Dallas Turner didn't play. Not looking at that. J.C. Latham, no. Quinion Mitchell is very interesting. That is very interesting. J.J. McCarthy, Quinion Mitchell. Terrion Arnold's an option too. That's viable. Byron Murphy's even viable. What in the world? No, what we're going to do here, we're going to go with Quinion Mitchell. I think the output he gave Philly was far too good to even go farther than this in the draft, and obviously it was a huge help to them winning the Super Bowl this year. But then on top of that, their secondary being as bad as it has been, this is going to help them a lot from that problem. And imagine that defense, you know, and they don't even play J.J. McCarthy. He may be on the board later, but we'll see. Denver here, we are going to stick and pick here. You know, Bo Nix is going to be the same thing. And, you know, you might argue who else could have taken Bo Nix. You know, Atlanta, if you want to say the thing, but same deal with Penix. It's not a difference, right? I don't think they're not giving up on Will Levis just yet. Definitely not them. They just took Jaden Daniels. They're not going to do it with Rodgers, I don't think, because at that point they're expecting Rodgers to come out and be something, you know, because he didn't play his first year. Minnesota, I just think Mitchell's more valuable. Bo Nix makes too much sense. They need a quarterback. I think they do the same thing. You can argue J.J. McCarthy, just from a prospect standpoint, could go there because, yes, Bo Nix had a great year. Situation is everything, guys. Like, let me just say it again. You could easily argue J.J. McCarthy is, you know, a better prospect. Easily argue that. And the situation is just as well fit for him because him and Bo Nix are really similar players in a way. They have, you know, not the most mobile, but not the strongest arm. They're kind of just a good mix of it all, but not great at any. I think it makes a lot of sense either way. But hey, they get their guy. And that leaves J.J. McCarthy on the board for the Vegas Raiders. They're going to go ahead and do that. Yes, McCarthy didn't play, but there's two kinds of teams in drafts. There's teams with quarterbacks, and there are teams without quarterbacks. And, well, the ones without quarterbacks need quarterbacks. So, McCarthy, he's going. It doesn't matter. We're doing that, and we're good with that. No problem at all. New Orleans on the board. What do they need? They need a tackle. They end up getting Talise Fuaga. I like J.C. Latham more now where we're at here instead of, you know, number 7. We're 7 picks later. But Fuaga was good for them, man. I don't mind that. But Rome Odunze is another guy I'm looking at here. Still on the board. Didn't have the best season, but Chicago's offense was pretty wonky, okay? And really just trying to help out opposite Chris Olave. That Rome Odunze, I kind of like him in the Saints uniforms. I think that fits a little bit. So really right here, I'm kind of just looking back and forth at the Fuaga, Latham, Odunze. That's really all we're gauging here. And I'm going to say for the sake of the switch up, we are going to go with Dunze. I feel like he is a good value player. Definitely should have been off the board or could have been off the board by now. And, you know, we're pretty fine with that. They are going to try to be dynamic and help their offense out when right now all they have is Chris Olave, and that's about it. So, moving on. Indiana. This is a weird team. This is a very, very, very weird team. In terms of tight ends, you know, we're not going with anybody here. I think the next most relevant tight end was probably Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott, whatever you want to call him. I don't know. Theo Johnson had a good year a little bit. I think he played some. I'm trying to think. I kind of like potentially Byron Murphy. They do have some defensive linemen already, but I do just think, man, that's a good fit there as it is. I'm not really thinking O-line here. They obviously go Leitulatu here, so you could argue Dallas Turner's an option, being the prospect value, and I think that's a very good option now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. But their cornerback room was really bad this year. Let's go Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold, you know, had a good year with Detroit, really helped them shore up a lot of holes from the previous year, and I think that makes plenty of sense. I'm really not actually have any problem with that at all. Seattle, with the 16th pick, we're halfway through this first round now. What do they need? They need an edge rusher, man, really bad. I'm going to say Dallas Turner. Obviously, if you know Dallas Turner was a great prospect coming out of last year, did I just mess that up, though? Let me think. Was there anybody else who... No, honestly, no. I don't think there's anybody else who really compares. They're not going interior here. Definitely not going interior, so you're not getting any of these guys. I think I'm good with that pick. The prospect. You got to remember the prospect, especially when he didn't play this year. You can't really say, oh, he didn't play his whole first year. He's not... Maybe that doesn't happen. He doesn't have Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard. Like, yes, he played some, but not a lot. I think this is a different situation. They'd play him immediately. He'd be their number one edge rusher at this point. And I think that's a really solid pick for Seattle, a team who needs some quarterback pressure very badly. And just before we go any further, I've got to share with you my favorite energy drinks. Well, they're right here behind me. You see 5 of them. Well, 4.5 kind of. There's 2 the same. But anyways, W Energy. They are some of my most favorite energy drinks, and, well, I drink them pretty much every day. Right now, I'm really focusing on this mystery flavor up here on the top. You see on the top right there. It's a really good flavor. They're all really good flavors. They are a great company with all their ingredients. There's nothing like crazy that you just like, what even is that? They don't do all that. It's a lot better than, you know, the G Fuels or whatever else. Not that I said that. But anyways, you know. Moving on, a lot better for you, and they're very cost efficient. It's $35 for a 30-serving tub, okay? And you know what? If you don't want that, guess what? You want to try it before you buy it? Single-serving pouches right here. This is their blue raspberry flavor, a single-serving pouch, 1 serving. All you got to do is dump it in some water, and boom, mix it up. You got you an energy drink, and you're good to go for the day. It's kind of my go-go juice, all right? Either way, check out w.gg. Click the link in the description. It'll take you right to it. If not, w.gg. That's the website. Super easy to remember. Go check them out and use code SHREDDER for 10% off your order. Moving into the second half of this draft, we have, obviously, number 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. And Brian Thomas is here. They're not changing anything. I want to say they traded back and still got him, but I'm not certain at this moment. But anyways, why would they do anything different? Brian Thomas had a great season. Debatably the best receiver season. Not even really out of all the rookies. Maybe Ladd McConkey's up there as well. But either way, Cincinnati on the board. They need offensive line. They also need defense. Their defense stunk this year, dude. And I think, you know, their D-line, they do have Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, even though he's not that great, and the Miles Murphy, you know, who, you know, we've kind of all forgotten about to a point. But anyways, secondary is their problem here. Yes, they do have Mike Hilton, who is one of the better nickel corners in the league. But in my opinion, he's going to be a free agent this year. Like right now, he currently is a free agent as we're at the end of the season. Cooper DeJean is a good option. He can play outside. He can play inside. I think he's a great corner. I do. I think he's very good. However, to just kind of stick with well, they have Mike Hilton. Maybe they re-sign him in the future. We'll go Nate Wiggins. Line him up on the outside. You have him and Cam Taylor Britt, and then you have Hilton on the inside. That's a lot better of a secondary than you started out with. The LA Rams. This team is interesting. Obviously, they took Jared Verse here. He's not on the board. They later on take Braden Feist. He might even be worth this pick because of how good he was this year. But there's someone else on the board at a similar position who probably shouldn't be on this board, but he is. And that's Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy was a really good player for their division rival, and, well, they're going to get him now. And the edge really, I mean, Chop Robinson had a good year. You could argue maybe he could go here, but I don't really think it's that necessary. I really just don't think it's required to go for edge. These guys are really second rounders, and I think you wait. Not one of these guys is really that impressive off for the first round with Byron Murphy on the board too, comparatively. Anyways, Pittsburgh. They obviously took Troy Fautanu in the 2024 draft. However, he didn't play. And they weren't great. Tackles weren't great. Let me just be honest. But he didn't play. And so, they really didn't draft any tackle to begin with for the first round this last year, if you know what I mean. They could do without it. They could go get a guy who does play. And obviously, receiver was their big question. A.D. Mitchell didn't do enough to be in the first round. Xavier Worthy, I don't really feel like he really would be a first rounder to anybody but Kansas City or Buffalo, just in my opinion. Ladd McConkey is interesting. He would be a really good, lightning thunder combo with George Pickens, but I just don't feel like it's necessary at this moment. So I think one of their other issues was cornerback. And who's on the board here? Obviously, Lassiter's here. He had a really good season for Houston. But the rest of these guys, Hart was solid for the Chargers. Abrams-Drain did some good stuff here and there. Melton was solid. But I just feel like Cooper DeJean here makes too much sense. He was a guy I wanted Pittsburgh to draft in the beginning. Turned out well for that one. And, we had a really good half year of what's his name? Dante Jackson. But not so much of the second half of the year. Maybe this guy cleans that up. Maybe this guy can help out with that. Cooper DeJean, just a good player and a much-needed position for Pittsburgh anyways. Miami on the board. This is where they take Chop Robinson, but honestly, let's just protect the mess out of Tua because he's going to die again, okay? They have Bradley Chubb. They have Jalen Phillips. O-line, we have got plenty of options. In my opinion, Fuaga's the best one available. He can play guard. He can play tackle. He does end up playing guard for the Saints. You just need somebody to fill a hole. Put him on the line. I don't care. Put him at center. Who cares? Just do it. Fill a hole. Do something good, better than you did already. Philly. This was Quinion Mitchell. They're not doing that this time around. They do need a corner still. And both of their corners are already gone. That's how good they were. Lassiter makes a lot of sense here, to a point. They could go O-line. The I-O-line, especially the interior, could be a use, absolutely. Robinson's here. That's an interesting pick. I think that kind of fits the Fangio wants to a point. Tyler Guyton's still here. JPJ still here. He could be a good option. I don't feel like the interior matters so much. I feel like their tackles, obviously, the interior, I feel like the guards matter, really. I think the guards matter. And I think J.C. Latham profiles best to a guard. I don't think he's going to survive at tackle in the NFL. Really, I'm not sure how to think about him at all. I think the same thing about Troy Fautanu, though. Troy Fautanu's a better tackle to me, in my opinion, because he's a little more athletic. But I think either one would be fine here at the guard position. Graham Barton, obviously, really good at center. They have Cam Jurgens, though. Do you want to go that route? Do you want to go something else? Corner's not option. Lassiter's fine. I'm going to talk myself into Kamari Lassiter. Not the same guy you got, but still a good one. Okay? Minnesota, they took Quinion Mitchell earlier. What do they need now? They had a good O-line this year. They don't really need that. Johnny Newton on the board. Not upset about that, but Braden Fisk, we know he has a really good year as well. He could be a valuable pick here. Chop Robinson could be interesting, kind of doing the same thing as Dallas Turner, but I don't know. I'm working on this here, okay? I'm working on something here. I think I'm cooking up something here. Ladd McConkey, you can just give the rich more with, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Ladd McConkey. That'd be sick. Zach Frazier obviously has a really good year at center. I'm seeing if I'm missing somebody right now. Braden Fisk kind of does make a lot of sense. Edgerrin Cooper has a really good year. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anybody. I feel like there's somebody going to slide under my nose here. T'Vondre Sweat was really solid. I wouldn't call him good, but fine. I feel like somebody's going to slide under my nose here, and I'm just going to miss it. That somebody makes a lot of sense. I don't know. We'll go back up to the top. Stick with our gut here. Let's go with, I don't feel like the O-line is required. They could use a guard. Interior. Graham Barton does make some sense. But I feel like they're fine. Let's go Johnny Newton. No, hey, I know. Braden Fisk. Braden Fisk has a really good year for the Rams, and, well, they get two defenders now to really beef them up on that side of the ball. Sounds good. Dallas. They really are mad that Braden Fisk just went off the board. Johnny Newton being here, okay, there's something, but the O-line is bad. Let's give him Graham Barton. Now we know Zach Martin's retiring. Today we know that. He kind of helps with that interior from the future, but also he can be your center right now. I think that's a good pick for them. Green Bay. Who was this pick initially? I don't think they didn't take Edgerrin Cooper first round. No. Hold on. Now we're looking at Green Bay. This was Jordan Morgan, and they kicked him into guard, I believe. I don't feel like doing that. J.C. Latham, Troy Fautanu, better versions of the same thing, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Their O-line could use a lot of help. This one, we're going to go Latham here. He goes way further back than he went originally. Makes a lot more sense, to be honest with you. Tampa Bay. This was Graham Barton. Fatanu could kind of do that. Some, not center, but guard. That's, possible. But I think we should go somewhere else here. I think we go somewhere else here. And where is it, though? We're not looking at receiver. Johnny Newton, not really. Chop Robinson is a viable option here. Cornerbacks, McKinstry could go, but I'm not really sold on that either. I think Chop Robinson makes plenty of sense here. They need the edge rusher anyways. They really do, so that helps. This pick, Arizona, this was Darius Robinson. Heck no, we're not doing that at all. But what are we doing? I don't know, man. They already have Malik Neighbors, okay? We got a receiver. Hajalte Froholt was really solid this year, but Powers Johnson could play guard. Froholt could play guard. Two good players. You just get O-line fixed. I actually kind of like that. Ladd McConkey, really just diving into that. You know what? Zach Frazier. Pick Zach Frazier. Obviously has a great year at center for the Steelers. He goes in the first round, and, Froholt was a really good center this year, but they can play both of them. Guard to center, it doesn't matter. Just put the best players on the field. The Bills. This pick, they traded out of the first round entirely, but we're not doing trades today. We're just taking kind of like the best player available. Who would they take? I think their quarterback's pretty rough. They could go Michael Penix. Somebody just got so mad. Somebody did. I know they did. Anyways, no, they're not doing that garbage. Get out of here. They could go corner. They need defense. That's what they need. Edge-wise, I don't think anybody's on the board that I'm interested in at all. D-line, Jerzon Newton could be interesting. T'Vondre Sweat would be fun. That's what I'm seeing. For the first round, that's what I'm seeing. Running backs-wise, no one really stood out this year. Really weird year for running backs. Trey Benson had some stuff. Was cool. Yeah, that's about it running back-wise. Moving on from that, safety, Ballard is interesting-ish, but not fully. Peyton Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper both had really good years. I could go either way on that one. We're not doing quarterback. Get out of that. McConkey does sound fun. I'm going to go with Ladd McConkey here. Dude did definitely have a good enough year to get a first-round spot. He was almost a first-rounder anyways. And, hey, you ain't supposed to be on the couch. Get off of there. Get out. This guy. What is he doing? I don't even know. Anyways. Detroit on the clock now. And, they took Terrion Arnold. They moved up to get him, actually. But he's not here. What are we doing? O-line, they have a pretty good O-line, but you never can have enough O-line. I think we did see they needed some defensive help this year. That is definitely Jerzon Newton. He's an option. This is ugly. They're very unhappy with that room. Kool-Aid McKinstry could do some stuff. Cam Hart was really solid, but I just don't feel like he's first-round material. McKinstry, we can stretch it. It's a little bit of a stretch, but they do need the position. The only other viable option here for them would be Johnny Newton, but they did bring in. They have Lee McNeil, DJ Reader. Kool-Aid McKinstry is the only one that makes a lot of sense there. Moving on. Baltimore, 30. We have, O-line really was their issue. They're going to take Steelers player, Troy Fatanu, I think. They absolutely are. He could do a lot of things, play guard, play tackle, do either. They don't. This would probably be a world where they don't get Roger Rosengarten, so he plays their right tackle position. That makes some sense. Fair enough pick for them. San Francisco. Who even was this pick, dude? I don't even know right now. Hold on. Let's see. I don't even remember. Pearsall, that's right. That's why I don't remember, because that doesn't feel like, that feels like a pipe dream. Anyways, their defensive lines kind of suck this year. Johnny Newton makes a lot of sense. Tyler Guyton makes a lot of sense, because they need O-line as well. But, let's see, who else is here? Jackson Powers Johnson can do wonders for them. Mims, Guyton, Morgan. Rosengarten was even decent. I mean, a lot of stuff was better than what they had. We'll go Jackson Powers Johnson. They did have a crap O-line and D-line this past year. Big reason why they were out of the playoffs. We're going to fix that right then and there. Kansas City, obviously this was Xavier Worthy. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense to just do it again. Can we look for something else to maybe do? Amarius Mims could be a good option because, having the ability to not jump off sides every play. Or false start, whatever you want to call it. That could help. Marius Mims, that would definitely help. He was a better prospect. I think that makes too much sense right now. Kansas City will figure out the receivers. They will. They usually do. But the O-line's a problem that they can't get fixed. So take a guy to try to fix that who is definitely a first-round player. Mims was absolutely a first-round prospect. So that is our 32 picks of the first round. Let me know who you think I'm missing. Who do you think maybe, let's say, was, I didn't draft today, and they should have been a first rounder. They played their way up. You could argue Xavier Worthy, maybe. You could argue, the next few guys off the board. Let's see. Sanders still, maybe. Peyton Wilson was really good for Pittsburgh. Edgerrin Cooper, definitely an option. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really that I'm seeing. This is a weird draft class. Good players, don't get me wrong. I'm seeing a lot of good, but not a lot of first-round jumps here. Mason McCormick was even solid, but he's not a first-rounder at all for Pittsburgh. They just got two good O-linemen, basically, is what they got. Jalex Hunt had a good year, but not a first-round jump, definitely. Limmer had a good year for the Rams, but not a jump, obviously. Cowing had some minutes of things that were solid. That's a cool one. Then, other than that, I think that's kind of where that list ends. I don't think there's any other first-round jumps or anything. Nobody super late that really stood out this year. Unless I'm just blanking on something really, and they're real late. Cam Little had a great year, but we're not drafting kickers in the first round, are we? I sure hope not. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one. Let me know what you think. Who do you think could have been drafted one way or another? Very interested to see who you might have that, maybe went over my head. Maybe, still could have gone. Maybe just a little bit. I still kept that you don't think should have been a first rounder. Either way, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.